Alan, the government's making changes in reducing red tape for the use of overseas products into in construction, right? So they're hoping it'll make the process of building faster, cheaper. What are your views on that?
I definitely think that it'll have a positive impact for me anyway.
For you, because I mean, you are in the interior space,
Yeah.
right? So it's going to have a huge impact on your work.
Because interiors jobs tend to run really fast from start to end. And a lot of time that speed is defined by the procurement time. And, the only way around that a lot of the time is a change from the design intent or something like that. We've probably seen during the pandemic,
The jib crisis?
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't
People
want to
love
say the
the jib
word
crisis,
monopoly,
eh?
but it was,
You can say monopoly.
Monopoly's kind of created this and the bottlenecks that it caused, and then, what were the options to use something else from abroad, and I think that verification process as it stands currently, is time consuming and it's costly, and it kind of flattens your golden triangle really.
Does
with something like that. So like I would like to think that there are enough, I suppose, trusted jurisdictions out there with their own, brands or whatever it may be, that we should be able to, use. It's not all like for like, but I read somewhere that the Aussie watermark, I think it's called, has like 200,000 products, and I know they're not all going to be applicable, but there'll be a lot that will be applicable to the New Zealand market. And then I was, speaking recently with a friend of mine. He's living over in Vancouver a long time and builder by trade as well, and he works for city council now. And so we'd just be chatting about work a little bit in between the good yarns, and had a lot of the same difficulties over there with leaky buildings, similar climate.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you'd imagine there has to be, lots of products that you could use in terms of cladding and facades and things like that. It might not be as simple as that, but, I just feel like the Aussie one, lead times, you're bringing stuff from Aussie anyway, just that monopoly, we got to get away from that.
I tend to agree, but proceed with caution, I believe.
Most definitely.
So I'll tell you one thing that was like going through my mind and bothering me when I was reading this article. I said, for all our commercial buildings, we need to have seismic bracing. That's part of the code. That's what the code says, right? It's not the same mandate in China, is it?
No.
It's not the same mandate in 90% of the world, is it?
Yeah, I mean, but
how does that impact when you bring in different types of products, and when we have specific conditions that we've got to fulfill as part of our code? So I'm bringing one specific example.
Yeah, but it's a very good point, and it probably eliminates a lot of those products until you have a chance to test them. But even if you have stuff like that going through the verification as it stands, add to the market, add other options. But I still think there's a lot of products there that aren't related to seismic, and however small they may be, it just feels like the industry is looking to pump, but we're all funneled into the same few things, and building another jib factory is not always the answer. There's lots of
I was part of the team that built the jib factory, mate.
It's a beauty. It's a big one.
It's a beast.
Yeah, but but it is a fair point about the seismic.
Yeah.
While that Pacific Ring, I'm sure there's lots of other places with seismic, issues in design and stuff like that. But I'd imagine New Zealand's is unique, as is everywhere's is unique.
It is, because then in China they're not even considering seismic requirements as a factor while they're manufacturing these products, right? So how do we then pick the suitable products for us? I mean, the last thing we need is another fucking leaky home scenario. Oh, so I don't think we can afford another leaky home scenario.
Definitely, but I think your example of China, maybe using that route would be: are we going the cheapest? Are we looking to double hit? But you think if the EU,
that's the idea of this exercise, right?
Yeah,
bring the cost down.
But I think maybe if you look at the EU, Italy has earthquakes. I'm sure there's parts of Italy that have to think about this as well. So I think there probably are parts of the world that we can take some of their seismic friendly products and have a look at them, but it's probably more complicated than that.
Probably is.
I think for me, for the interior side of it, I could probably have at it, within reason, but your larger scale construction, then you're really starting to think about things not falling down on top of you, or water coming in left, right, and center.
Yeah. So, from a fit out perspective, which you're an expert in, what are the top 3 products that you're excited for? Would help speed up your jobs as part of this entire clearing the red tape of using overseas product, which is managed by the government?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Is it?
I didn't see coming. I mean, look, flooring products.
Flooring,
are quite often long lead. A lot of them are coming from Australia anyway, so it's probably a bit of a moot point. The plasterboard crisis has
of course
sorted itself out, but
it's pretty much sorted itself out.
It's a
the monopoly's not
gone
away.
Point. Yeah. It's a bit of a weak point, and I mean, just for that, I mean, sometimes, and I don't want to disrespect anybody's fit out, but when you've seen enough of them, there's a huge amount of similarity between a lot of them. And I'd like to see if there was a broader range for designers to be able to maybe try and go for something a little bit more out there. I'm not saying that people aren't going for out there things, but quite often they're a variation of the same thing that you've seen somewhere else. And I think that's probably dictated by what you can get quickly and easily for a 10-week turnaround project.
I had a designer on my podcast, Yashidani. I was about four episodes ago. Back to that design point that you raised, he was telling me how his design intent and creativity is so restricted by what's allowed in the building code and the stipulations allowed in the building code. So back to the point,
he was fairly passionate about that. I actually remember that.
Oh, you remember that one? You remember that episode?
Yeah.
Oh, you watched the episodes. That's good. Yeah, he was quite passionate about it. So back to that point again, what can the designers do is only what's allowed in the building code.
Yeah.
So again, but you believe it's going to have a positive impact? Yes,
I definitely think so. I mean, I'm not advocating a have at it attitude, but I definitely think the more products, the less bottlenecks you create. There's a lot to be done here, and a lot of what people want to do, and the more products, the more options, the more design features you can have. It's just better overall for everybody. And we all like using new things and new products and new methods, and you look at a drawing and you say, how are we gonna, and then you get into the detailing of it, and then when it finishes you look at it after and it's like, it's awesome.
That's
it's a really kind of satisfying one. Not that it's not satisfying to do stuff that you do quite often. You can often hone it and try and make it better, smoother, but doing something completely new as a design feature is always cool when you.
It is 100% cool. So I'm all for the whole Christopher Luxton. Let's get New Zealand back on track, but let's do so with caution. Agreed.
Agreed.